Hello and welcome to Daily Austin Music. My name is Colin McDonald.
This is Austin Music News.
Now, let's just take a second and appreciate where we live. Austin was ranked again the third time in a row as the best city in America, and you know, I have to agree. Of all the reasons, music is always mentioned near the top. And let's point out that another article that was making its rounds saying to be happy in Austin, you have to make $136,000. That's just not even close to being true. So here are the real numbers for what a cost of living in Austin looks like. So take a second every now and then to appreciate the fact that we're here and we're making music, and for all its faults and shortcomings, this still literally is the best place to live in America 3 years running. And speaking of appreciation, be sure to check out this article from Austin Monthly about Donn Adelman of Donn's Depot. It's always nice to see a light shining on the people that made Austin what it is, and this is an absolute must read. I got it linked down below. And next, we move on to the Music Commission meeting a couple days ago. Now, the first highlight of the evening was the addition of Patrice Pike to the Music Commission representing District Number 9.
I'd like to welcome Commissioner Patrice Pike to the Austin Music Commission. Yay. Would you like to tell everyone a little bit about yourself and your history in Austin?
Sure. I moved to Austin in 1992. Experienced a lot of, a few decades here, and I'm just excited to do whatever I can to contribute to trying to help make the city of Austin even better for musicians going forward after all the growth that we've had, and excited to listen to people's perspectives and get a deeper understanding of the conversations that you all are having. Thanks for having me.
Next up, they addressed the Joint Arts and Music Commission's recommendations for creative space acquisition and improvement plan, which I've covered before, and I'll link some other articles down below that explain exactly what this is for those of you playing the home game. Now, at the last Joint Arts Music Commission meeting, they decided to go for one more round of community feedback about the working group's recommendations. And the feedback,
Do you have any idea of how much feedback has come through so far?
Actually, I just took a look, and it looks like we've only had 7 people add their responses to the question that was posed during the Joint Commission meeting.
And next up on the discussion was the possible uses of the hotel occupancy tax on the main event. And the Music Makes Austin team came to speak for the citizens communication portion.
What we're facing really is an historic moment here for Austin. This will be the first time in the history of our city that there's an opportunity for dedicated funding for live music.
At the same time, we do need to take a moment, since it's been 4 or 5 years to get to this point, in order to take the time to get it right, to make sure the horse is in front of the cart, that there's an actual process, an organization, and a well-informed vetting of that process about how this money will be used going forward.
I think that obviously this is a huge win, and it's a huge historic moment, not just for Austin music, but I'm talking to people around the state and around the country and quite literally around the world who are watching to see how we do this, and they want to know what the blueprint is so that they can sustain their music communities going forward. So how we do this is incredibly important.
So wait, let's just take a second, like I said before, and enjoy that one. Because it is absolutely true, and it is absolutely important that what we do matters in a greater context. Don't sleep on that. Now, after Rebecca Reynolds spoke, Pat Buckta, the executive director of Austin, Texas Musicians and secretary-treasurer of Music Makes Austin, spoke about the level of excitement in their base.
Within our group, within our base of musicians, is that they're very excited that we got to this point, that we now have money on the table to go back to music.
7 people add their responses.
And thankfully, Nakia spoke next and addressed that very issue.
Echo that, but I also want to reiterate the importance of transparency and communication with city offices, with the commission as a whole. As decisions are being made, that those things need to be part of a public process so that we can all have an idea of what's going on moving forward, but also so that we can kind of activate our base to find out what it is that musicians really do want out of this, and be a part of that process as well.
Thank you. The Music Commission meeting was listed on the event as starting at 2 p.m. and ending at 5 p.m. It started at 6:30, although the cameras didn't turn on until almost 7. Now, there's also been 7 responses to a very important survey because of the lack of communication, not a lack of interest. Now, Patrick and Nikki are absolutely right about people being excited about this, and I would add they're extremely opinionated too. But we have to know what's going on in order for us to have our input, and you can't rely on events that we actually have to attend to do so. I mean, we play a lot. But after this, Graham Reynolds just nailed it.
I wouldn't worry about cart versus horse. I would send them all downhill as fast as you can. I'm curious what your structures are in place that you refer to for collecting information from the music community.
Yeah. We've started to survey our base of, I guess, 4,200 musicians within our own private group at this point, about various topics, music, venue best practices, even putting together our musicians advisory panel. And our vision is that with this panel in place, we start to create a structure of communications from the street level in every genre of music across town back up to you guys.
There are a lot of things I think y'all can help with this process, but educating your base, it would be amazing, because when we had the Joint Commission and we asked a specific question, 28 out of 30 people answered a different question. And something for your base to know as well is the basic concept of the elected side, which we are a part of, says what to do in theory, and the staff side says how to do it. I don't think your typical citizen, never mind musician, knows that that's the sort of balance of power.
What? People aren't tuned into this channel right now.
Well, were you? Did you even know these meetings are sort of broadcast live on atxn.tv and Channel 16? Sometimes when they're at the City Hall, and sometimes the feed starts 28 minutes in, so if you want to see the last 40 minutes or so of the meeting, I'll link that down below. But you should really come out to the meeting on the 16th at 2 p.m. And yes, 2 p.m., I triple checked, it's at 2 p.m. And on that note, I talked about this yesterday. We need pizza, drinks, and some disco lights and music in these meetings. That'll get people in the door. Okay, maybe not the disco lights or even the music, but some snacks would be nice. These meetings are gonna get long and longer as this process rolls on, and I wonder if there's a pizza joint somewhere downtown that would support and sponsor the Music Commission and donate some pies. Anyone? Is that even allowed? We'll be right back with JaRon Marshall and ReggieBlackLight Devore after this message. Kids in a New Groove's mission is to provide Central Texas children living in foster care with a committed, one-on-one mentoring relationship through free weekly private music instruction. Since 2009, Kids in a New Groove has empowered over 700 youth with music mentorship. Children in foster care are a highly vulnerable and underserved population. Having undergone emotional, sexual, or physical abuse, the children's lives are traumatic before they even enter foster care. And their music mentors and their students build a lasting relationship of support which helps the students succeed academically, emotionally, and socially. Kids in a New Groove equips youth in care with concrete tools to show the world, and more importantly, youth themselves, what they can accomplish with passion and dedication. And they need your help to continue making an impact. Kids in a New Groove seeks volunteer music mentors to provide weekly music lessons and mentorship to youth in foster care. Now, for more volunteer opportunities, go and down and visit thekidsinanewgroove.org. Hello and welcome back to Daily Austin Music. I'm here with JaRon Marshall and ReggieBlackLight Devore, and we're talking about how the Austin music scene has really taken a step up in the last few years and really seen success we haven't really seen before. And JaRon, I want to start with you. How long have you been in Austin? When did you come?
So I came here 3 years ago. I moved from Lafayette, Louisiana, South Louisiana, where I was born and raised, and I went to school in Lafayette and then came over here about 3 years ago. Yeah,
that's awesome. And you just got nominated for a Grammy with the Black Pumas.
Yeah.
Tell me about that story. How did you get with the Black Pumas? Like, what was the origin story there?
Group of guys, man. I've always been close. We always been in similar scenes. We crossed paths when they had some of their first shows. But I hit it off with Adrian Casada, the producer of the album, the guitarist. Ended up in the studio. We cut about 2 or 3 albums there, and we made beats together actually. And we got 20 or so beats and song ideas together already. And then he just hit me up. They needed someone to come in, and came in, and it's been fun ever since. And it's been
networking, awesome, right?
Yeah, exactly, right? Just meeting people and being cool with them. And when you meet people like that you have completely similar interests with, it's really easy, you know.
Speaking of fun and success, I know you just got back from India. Tell me about that whole experience.
Well, it was amazing. As soon as we got off the plane, it was crazy fast. I got 5 hours of sleep. Then I had to be at the stadium for sound check. Got to the stadium, waited for a little while because there was technical difficulties. I was sitting on the wall, and I seen these American girls walk by. I'm like, hey, what's going on? They're like, hey. And then we get the phone call that says, hey, Katy Perry's here. You can't do your sound check. I'm like, okay. Well, I mean, like, how many people can say they got their sound check messed up by Katy Perry? Right. You know, so we walked around. They were like videotaping me walking up and down for the commercial, for the to getting footage for the OnePlus phone commercial. Right. And like we walk on the stage, and Katy Perry and her dancers are looking at me like, who's this guy? Like, you know, so it was kind of surreal to be there.
Right. So how did the music go over when you finally got up on stage and played? Like, how did Austin hip hop translate to a crowd in India?
Well, getting on stage, that was the crazy part. So there was a couple of issues. Like right before I went on stage, they were like, we want to give you 15 minutes extra because Dua Lipa's late. All right, why not? Right. So 30 seconds before I'm going on stage, I'm in Pro Tools filling up the extra space I needed, get on stage, and since I didn't do a sound check, no sound comes through the speakers. I'm on the microphone like, Oh, man. So it's crazy standing there, 60,000 people. I don't even know how many people just staring at me, but it went well after we got it going on. You know, they loved it. The crowd was really interactive. It was really good.
And my favorite thing about that story is you didn't tell anybody that you were even going to India until you walked off the stage. Right. And I get that because, man, anything can happen to where you get there and you don't go on. And then you have to explain, I was gonna open for Katy Perry in India, but it didn't work out. So like I really respected that. That was awesome.
I have that too for sure. Like I don't believe things until they happen, right. And then after they happen, like you still don't really believe it.
Right. And JaRon, what about you? Like you talked to me about like the making beats and everything, and like the lo-fi hip hop. Talk to me about like your getting into that and kind of the history there.
So man, like I was raised by hip hop, you know, just being born in '93, '90s babies and all that good stuff. You know, hip hop was always there. You know, hip hop was pop music when I was growing up. You know, Nelly was, you know, Michael Jackson back then, whenever I was growing up. But yeah, regardless of that, I got into jazz when I was 18 or so, and loved piano, jazz piano, and they started to resample these guys, man. So the way I see it, it's coming around again. You know, the trends are coming back again from, you know, the 50s, 60s cool jazz era with like people like Bill Evans and Miles Davis, you know, Herbert Hancock, like I like to call him. But yeah, so it's everything now, like all together, and it's something I'm really passionate about. That's just really listening to and
so
making.
Are you making records of like beats?
So I put things online, some stuff on Spotify, Bandcamp, you know, because that's a Bandcamp type thing. Right. Yeah, so just putting it out there in the internet that way, and I perform shows, and I usually do that, and I do videos online quite frequently.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I think that's where I first saw you. Was doing the live videos on Facebook.
Exactly. Right.
Like, oh my God, this is perfect. Talk to me about putting this together as a plan and taking it seriously as a business. I mean, what does that mean to you?
Well, I feel like music must be seen and executed as a business if you really want to make a career out of it. If you think, okay, brass tacks, X's and O's, binary code, ones and zeros, I want to do music, this is how you could do it, this is how you can make money through avenues like giving lessons that I did for a while, syncing, licensing, playing shows, of course, and so many other things, right? Yeah, when you think of it like a business in that sense, then it's easier to just put one foot in front of the other. Then on top of that, just dreaming and believing, writing things out on something like a vision board or something, that gives you the opportunity. I feel like that causes things to be planted, like, I want to have a song on TV. Then you meet someone that works in that field or something. Or you see during South by they're having a group for that, right? Which I did get to go to this March. So things like that happen. So you have to take the initiative once it happens. But I do believe visualization works. It gives you those opportunities.
Amen. So and so speaking of getting there and how to get there, like talk to me a little bit, like how did you end up in India doing this and with OnePlus and that whole thing?
Well, they were looking for a producer, and I guess my website was good. So I got the call to come down to actually just be a model in the commercial, to act like I wasn't really doing anything. And then they listened to my music and they were like, oh wow. So during the dress rehearsal, the producer of the commercial walks out, he's like, can we put your music in our commercial? I'm like, yeah, I have all the files right there. You want to do this right now? You're like, yeah. So, and then they sent it off to the company in China, and they all loved it. And they were like, get this guy at the OnePlus thing. So it was literally a matter of 3 weeks that all this happened. Whoa. And it was like, I don't know, it's like, everything that happened, if it wasn't for all the hard work and the never giving up and all of that, there's no way that you can do it. Right. You got to have that. I'm going to work even though I don't feel like it right now. And like, I'm not going to release this until it's perfect. You know, it's...
Well, and you having a website and you having your stuff together, that's preparation meets opportunity. That's not luck. That's being prepared for the opportunity and then taking advantage because you had to have the files with you. You're like a business, man, and you get your stuff together and you go out there and you make a difference and you step by step go towards where you're going. Reggie, I know you had a record come out.
Literally, 2 days ago, December 1st, King Vibes Only released my first solo album. I think it's amazing.
It is. I reviewed it. You should check out the link. And then, JaRon, you got a show 22nd at Halfston. Right?
Yeah, 22nd December, doing some solo stuff here while I'm out in town for the month. Going to be mostly playing beats and jamming some stuff with some other instrumental friends and family. And then touring next year in January and stuff. But one day at a time.
One day at a time. Amen.
I know, right?
Hey, man, thank y'all for coming. Thank y'all for being here.
Nice meeting you, man.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week.